So this is my Parlor guitar that I built. It looks dusty in this photo. It actually isn't. But I built it about a year and a half ago, and I decided that I didn't like the fact that the neck wasn't adjusting right. Um, it had a standard truss rod in it. So what I did was I put a well, I'm not going to take this cover off, but I put a Japanese style truss rod, which is instead of adjusted with a 3/8 nut driver or socket or whatever, this one adjusts with an Allen wrench, which um, this type they're anchored both fore and aft internally, meaning a Gibson style truss rod, is anchored in the wood right here. It's anchored in the wood right here, and um, the wood itself is part of the whole construction. These Japanese style ones are made out of steel and they're self-contained, which means even if it's not attached to anything else, it still will adjust up and down. And they go both directions. You can put a curve in it like this, or a curve in it like this, or different variations, which is really nice. So when I did that, I pulled pause for the dog. I pause and nothing happens. Okay, I put when I took it off, I had to take off the old fingerboard to do it. And when I took off the fingerboard, it cracked in a couple of places, which means I really didn't want to use it again. So I made a new fingerboard for it, and I actually made this one out of Paduke. The original fingerboard was rosewood, and I just felt like using Paduke because I had it around. And I actually had to make a little extension right here because the old fingerboard was a little teeny bit longer and it looked goofy up here. And so I just made an extension to go over the. I don't know if that looks goofy too, but it's just a different way of doing it. Anyway, I got it back up and running. I strung it up last night. It was pretty much right, but the action was a little high. So this morning, because it's 10:45 right now, when I got in, the first thing I did was took and set it up. So I lowered the saddle down a little bit here, and I took the nut off and put it back in. It hadn't set down quite right. That's the original nut. So, and I got it. I think I got it playing pretty good, and it was buzzing up in here a little bit because it's a new fingerboard, and that's the only place I actually had to do any fret leveling. So, but it still sounds good to me. It's a long scale on a small body, and because it's a 12th fret neck joint, um, this bridge sits further back in the body, which makes it respond differently when you play. It just has a different type of tone. It's X-braced. It's got one tone bar. It's very small. It has this funky little cutaway in it, and I'd love to sell it. It's got really nice Schaller tuners. These are $200 tuners, or they're pretty, and I wanted them for it, so I did it. That's my attempt at Chet Atkins or Jerry Reed. But it plays good again, which is nice. It was buzzing before, and I couldn't. The problem was the neck didn't adjust correctly. It buzzed. I couldn't do much about it the conventional way. So I said, enough of that. I'm just going to put a new truss rod in it. I did the same thing to a Gibson Super 400 that I own, which they're very expensive guitars and they're very collectible and all of that, and it's no longer original and all of that, but now you can play it again. So, and I did it to a guy's guild a couple of weeks ago, and it really helps with these things. And from now on, when I build guitars, I'm going to start putting Japanese style truss rod in it. Fact is, I'm going to pause this and grab one and show you. All right. This is the truss rod. Well, this isn't the truss rod that's in it. That would be just silly, wouldn't it? But this is the truss rod that's in it. It's they're really not expensive to buy. I think retail they're $15 or $20 maybe. All right, and it's very simple construction. You can see it's welded up here and here. There's the rod. The blue part is that rod, and I'll do it so I can do it right-handed. And when you back off on the thing, you can kind of see that let's light through. If you put pressure on it, watch it raise up. See how it raises up? I'm going to pull the pressure off. Come on. And that gap goes down. So basically, it's sitting in this neck right in there, underneath. And that's all there is to it. It's very simple. Now this is an actual, well, I don't know if this is an actual Gibson truss rod. This could be from something else, but this is a Gibson style truss rod. And it's just a piece of metal with a curve in it. It has these half moon washer, and it has this other like square washer, and those are set into the, well, this one's way too long for this guitar. It's probably for a bass or something, but they're set into the neck the same way, and this end is anchored down here. Well, on this guitar it'd be anchored right there. This is too long, but immaterial. And this end is anchored up here, but the thing is, what anchors it is, it's anchored into the wood with this little washer, and when you put it together, instead of having this metal piece on top, this flat thing, you put a piece of wood over it, and it curves down in the middle, so that the rod is in like this. It's curved like that, although not that much, of course. And when you put pressure on it, when you adjust it down, it wants to try to straighten the rod, so it goes from being bent like this to like that. Is it the other way around? Yeah, when you tighten it, it goes like this, pulling the neck this way, thereby straightening it, which it's actually a great design, and it has worked very well for Gibson for 95 years, because they came out with that in 1923. It's just that, in my opinion, this is an actual improvement. There aren't, some things are made so well that they don't get much improvement, and that's one of them. But that is an improvement on it. So yeah, I put that in here. I can't play this morning. My fingers are funny. Yeah, it sounds good again, and I'm very happy about that, because it's been out of commission for 6 months, mostly because I took it apart and I've got other things to work on, and this one is mine until I sell it, so it doesn't bring me any money until I sell it, so I wasn't as worried about fixing it up. So there you go. A little insight, I guess, into guitar making and repair.